Let's get into some industry talk, and my name is George Mienie, and I'm the host of your Industry Talk segment. And I am joined by none other than Martin Pretorius, Wandile Sishi, and Lawrence Mienie to talk about the industry and its happenings, both here locally in South Africa and sometimes overseas. I suppose, gentlemen, the first thing to really kind of focus on is there's reason for cautious optimism when it comes to the used car market in South Africa. That's according to AutoTrader's data, and AutoTrader points out that there's a number of positive trends in the automotive industry at the moment, and one of them is prices have begun to increase, albeit slightly. We saw a little bit of price deflation at the end of lockdown. Lockdown has not ended, so it's not the end of lockdown. Let's not. This podcast is not going out sometime in the future, 10 years from now. So it is not the end of lockdown. And if you are listening to this podcast in 2035, then we did have lockdown and we did go through this crisis. Nonetheless, we are still in lockdown. And now that lockdown's being eased, to be a little bit more serious, prices have begun to increase again, even although that is only at a rate of about 1.2%. Cars are also selling faster than what we experienced at the beginning of this year. And that could be because the swing to used cars from new cars, as consumers consider the used car market, has started to accelerate. And when there's an increase in demand, there's upward pressure on pricing in terms of a normal economic model. So this isn't price hikes or any of that stuff. It's really just economics. And AutoTrader's used car rate of sale indicator has been released for a couple of months now and indicates that the rate of sale and the AutoTrader's retail pricing index both indicate that we are selling cars faster as well as prices are slightly going up. And according to this data, the fastest selling vehicle in South Africa at the end of June was the VW Polo Vivo. Well, I mean, that's not too much of a surprise. And the VW Polo Vivo sells within about 25 days. So, if you priced right, you can sell it Polo Vivo in about 25 days because that's what the market's doing at the moment. And the popularity of the VW brand I think is behind this because there's two in the top 10, VW Polo, and the other podium positions are the Fortuner, which is the second fastest selling car in the month of June at 26 days to sell, and then followed third by the Hilux at also 26 days to sell. So, Wendy, what do you think about the retail price index at 1.2% and the rate of sale, and who's in that list?
So starting on the rates of sale, so it almost completely makes sense. Every single car that's listed in the top 15 are the most popular selling cars in South Africa. Obviously, it's not the same rank as the most selling, but I mean, it's interesting to just see the popularity and the speed that these vehicles are being sold for.
Well, what's interesting to see is the VW Polo sells at the moment is selling in 25 days, and you almost double that in the top 15, where the Ford Figo is in 15th place at 44 days. So the top 15 is a big range of speed to sale in days in the top 15.
I think it also boils down to how many cars are being sold and the popularity of the brand. Something that you just mentioned now is Volkswagen it completely dominates the market. People love them at all different sizes, at SUV level, at smaller levels. They have a car for you, essentially, and they price really well. And safety-wise, people are just picking them up because of all of these different features.
Well, I mean, South Africans love VWs, Toyotas, BMWs, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a Renault. The Kwid is also there, which was, I think, in the new car space. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lawrence, but it's also one of a very popular car in terms of not just speed, but in terms of sales numbers.
Yeah, they were moving about 3,400 of them a month across the country, which is
So I mean, those brands, BMW, VW, Toyota, are the popular brands amongst South Africans. So, what's interesting to see is that the Nissan NP200 has crept into position number 5 when it comes to the fastest selling cars in South Africa for the month of June at 28 days. I mean, do you think that's got to do with all of the lockdown and food delivery and taking advantage of the new normal?
I think it is exactly that, George. We saw last month quite a large uptick in commercial vehicle searches, guys looking for small delivery buckies, caddies, small MP300s. Obviously, these are people that are getting into the delivery game. So, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if but they also have the market share. There are no small half-tonner buckies for sale now.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Sort of buying down. It makes sense for people to just. It does everything you need. It's a workhorse, right? It's small, but it is a workhorse, and it's priced really well. So
and it drives like a car.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting for me that you point out here, Wandi, is that Mercedes-Benz isn't in the top 15.
No, it's not in the top 15. It was previously, but it was also at like number 15. So as popular as Mercedes cars are, it seems like people don't pick them up as fast as their competitors. It could be a price point thing. It could be, a number of different things. But for a brand that's so popular and so loved in South Africa, it's not picked up.
So the retail price index from AutoTrader shows about a 1.2% increase in average prices, and that takes us to the average price of a car in the month of June of 274,221 rand. And used car prices continue to rise, not in a hyper-inflationary environment, and hopefully we never get there, because we all know what that means, but that's not the case. A 1.2% price increase, it's really reflective of demand and supply.